Posse, Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Life is pain. But at least the Cowboys beat the Vikings, Grossi, and today we're going to be talking about the Packers shooting themselves in both feet so hard that they essentially are Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump as they lose to the Colts 34-31 in overtime. Before we get to that, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to some brand new patrons and YouTube members. First, on the Patreon side of things, we have Benevolent Pats Fan 420. Join in the royalty tier with a $50 subscription. A big shout out and thank you to you. And over on the YouTube side of things, we have Sunny Days, we have Super Puppet Show, and we have Brie. The cheese? Who knows? But thank you so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. So this game was a disaster, right? Let's just call a spade here. The Green Bay Packers were up 14. Heading into halftime, they scored 28 points on one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they were rocking. They had some first half mistakes. Obviously, on the first drive where they were driving, there was a botched snap between Corey Linsley and Aaron Rodgers, in which resulted in a fumble, and that meant that the Colts picked it up. And I was like, oh crap, it's going to be one of those games. Also, you had a very uncharacteristic Aaron Rodgers interception again, and that was a really bad throw, but I was like, okay, it didn't matter because all the other drives, basically the Packers were moving and grooving. And then the second half happened, in which they scored a total of 3 points. 3! At a point in the fourth quarter, they had put up a total of 15 total yards, and I literally just looked up into the sky and said, why? Why is this happening? And to be completely honest, the Green Bay Packers did not deserve to win this game. And that's even after the fact the Colts were just like, here, win the game. They had like 27 holding calls on one drive in the fourth quarter. They're like, take it, take the W. And we were just like, no, we don't want that. You take the W. And things were looking up. We won the coin toss. We got the ball first in overtime. And all the fears that Packers fans have of all the Cardinals games and all the other games that we didn't get the ball in overtime first and we wound up losing, it was finally going to be over. And then MVS fumbled. And I cried. So Rodgers went 27 for 38, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Jones, 11 for 41 and 1 touchdown. Adams, 7 for 106 and 1 touchdown. Tunyon with 5 for 44 and 1 touchdown. And, of course, MVS 3 for 55. They had a total of 3 fumbles. The Rodgers one, you had the MVS one, and, of course, you had the Darius Shepard one on the kickoff return in the fourth quarter, which really was just a shot in the gonads because, good God, Irvin was out today, and we got back so many other guys. We got King, we got Jair Alexander back, we had Alan Lazard back, and that was great, and it really helped the team. But Irvin's absence wound up hurting us the most because Darius Shepard can't return any balls. And on top of that, he fumbled, And on top of that, he gave the Colts great field position, which really, really hurt us. On defense, Kirksey had an interception. Raven Green also played fantastic. Kenny Clark had a big sack. And they played pretty well in the first half. The second half, they really, really didn't show up. Now, to be fair, this is also on the offense. The defense was on the field constantly in the third quarter, and they just could not get off the field, 1. And 2, when the offense got the ball, we wound up going 3 and out, and nothing was solved whatsoever, and we gave the ball right back to the Indianapolis Colts. On top of that, J.K. Scott, who was rumored not to play today. He was questionable. He wound up playing, had an average of 39 yards a punt. Really wasn't doing it today, JK. And over on the Colts side of things, you had Phillip Rivers going 24 for 36, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Jonathan Taylor, 22 for 90 yards. Pittman, 3 for 66, and 1 touchdown, and only got sacked once. And I gotta say, again, the Colts especially did not show up in the first half, but in the second half, they played well, especially in the third quarter. But that fourth quarter, they literally were giving the Packers the game, and they were just not taking it. In addition, you had some weird-ass play calling coming from the Packers, not kicking a field goal on 4th and short, never adjusting to the Colts play calling, in which we played a ton of soft coverage. You had times where it was 3rd and long, and we literally were playing so off that they were able to basically get all the yardage except for 4 yards, and then they went for it on 4th down and easily got it and extended that drive. And it just drives me insane. And in the entire chat, the entire stream was just saying, like, Pettine needs to go. And it's that kind of crap that just drives us insane. Nobody is afraid of our defense in this league. And it's time that something happens on that front. But at the same time, if you go in on the road against a good football team in the Colts, you can't turn the ball over 4 times and expect to win. I said this earlier last week. If the team that played the Jaguars shows up today, we're going to lose. In the first half, it looked like we left that team last week in the dust. But second half, that was exactly what we showed up with against the Jaguars, and we lost this game because of it. Constant mistakes, constant errors, defense couldn't get off the field, couldn't stop them, and in the second half, the offense could do absolutely nothing. And I know a lot of people are going to blame MVS for this, but MVS had some really damn good plays. He blocked pretty well, and on top of that, he had the bomb in the fourth quarter to really keep that entire drive alive when we were backed up on our own 10. But at the same time, you can't fumble that ball. But I can't just blame MVS for losing that game because the game shouldn't have even gone into overtime. In addition, Corey Linsley wound up getting injured and did not return. Jenkins did pretty well in his absence. And I think we're just sitting here wondering, okay, what is next for the Green Bay Packers? They have the Bears next Sunday night. We are still 7-3. We're still in the top 3 teams in the NFC. However, we did lose our number 1 spot. We're still number 1 in the NFC North. And, by all measure, it looks like we're going to be able to keep that. But the question still remains, okay, who are the Green Bay Packers when they play against good teams? We suffered some adversity today. And even when we were ahead, it was great. And then we literally shot ourselves so many times in the foot that we wound up losing the game. We have 6 games left for the rest of the season. It looks like we're definitely going to be a playoff team. And if the team that showed up in the first half is what shows up in the playoffs, we're going to do great and we're going to make a deep run. But the inconsistency is really starting to get frustrating. I will say, having Lazard back, having King back, and having Jair Alexander back was great. Our offense looked amazing in the first half. And then it kind of just fell apart completely. The Colts completely, totally dominated time of possession in the second half. And listen, that's also kudos to the Colts. They did enough to win. Even though they wanted to give the game away at the end, they did enough to win the ball game. And I don't want to take anything away from the Colts or make this seem like it's sour grapes. The Green Bay Packers definitely should have won this ball game, and the only people that they have to blame is themselves. So now they're going to have to go back, they're going to have to practice, and we'll see what kind of team shows up next Sunday at Lambeau Field. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think the Packers need to make some drastic changes here while we got 6 games left, or how do you think they're going to do in the playoffs? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.